Well, obviously it was a great season for us in the way that it ended. It was a great start to the season. I thought we played really well. We had a long winning streak. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we're doing some pretty good things. And then had a couple injuries and some illnesses, and had a couple of losses on the road that were difficult for us and really made us come together and respond and forced us to evaluate some of our younger players and make a change with our lineup. So we went to a 4-2, which is a little bit non-conventional, and had some success there. We moved Anna Lossberg from the right to the left, and were able to feature her a little bit more, and she stepped up. I thought was a very key player for us at the end of the year. So kind of like most years for us, it's not a linear progression, and lots of bumps along the way that you have to respond to, but thought the girls did a great job, and really felt we played very well the last 3 to 4 weeks of the season. Even our NCAA tournament game, played very well in 2 of those 3 sets, just didn't get the win. So felt pretty good about the end of the year, and obviously it's always fun to win and get an opportunity to play in the postseason. And the ODAC tournament was so competitive last year. That week was just amazing for us to go through those 3 super tough matches and come out on top. And I think our girls had a wonderful experience there. Our goals are always to make every player a little bit better every day, and if we do that, we feel like the collective team gets a lot better. We wanted to really focus on serve receive this year, so that's something that we worked a lot on in spring season, and we've been working a lot this year. We felt like that was not necessarily a strength of ours last year, but we feel it needs to be this year, so we've spent a lot of time there. That's a goal. Blocking, we want to get a little bit better there, so that's been something that we've worked on as well. And just in general, we want to stay healthy, get better, and figure out exactly what our lineup's going to be and what's going to give us the best opportunity to get the best 6 players on the floor. And so far, camp has been great. It's been super competitive. We had our blue-white scrimmage yesterday, and talking with the coaching staff afterwards, we felt like it was really the first time, since those coaches have been with me, and first time for me in a long time where there wasn't a weak link on the floor on either team. Like, everybody contributed and played at a high level. So that was really good to see, and we're excited about the day-to-day competition we're going to be able to generate in the practice gym. Yeah, obviously every year is different. Specifically last year to this year, we're going to have a lot more offensive options this year. We're healthier, at least right now, and deeper at all the hitter positions. So I think we're going to be able to be a little bit more complex with our offense. At least I hope so. We'll see how we execute that. Personality-wise, it is a really good mix. We've got almost even classes. I think 4 seniors, 4 juniors, 4 sophomores, 3 freshmen. So we're pretty balanced across the board. We're pretty balanced at each position. So it gives us a lot of flexibility with the way we train, and I think that's going to be a lot different. In the past couple of years, we've really gotten into ruts where we can only do specific drills, or we can only run specific combinations of players in practice because that's all we have. But this year, we're really going to be able to vary things. I think it's going to be very competitive in the gym from a day-to-day basis. And we'll see where things go, but so far so good. It's been a great preseason so far, one of the better ones we've had in recent memory. So whether that will translate to more victories or better play throughout the season, we'll have to wait and see. I think everybody remains strong. The top 5 to 6 teams are, it's a battle every night. You see a lot more 4 and 5 set matches now than you did 5 or 6 years ago. Even the teams that are battling for maybe 7th, 8th, 9th, those teams are good. You play them on the road, and a 2-3 hour bus ride and midweek, that's a tough test. So I think the ODAC as a whole just continues to get better. Randolph-Macon's obviously going to be great. They have some terrific hitters, and I know they had good young players last year who will be more experienced this year, and Bill does a great job recruiting, so I'm sure they have a couple kids that will come in and give them some good minutes this year. Lynchburg has just been terrific the last handful of years, so I expect them to be very good as well. And I thought they had some really good that sophomore class that they had last year had some really strong players, so I expect them to be a little bit better. Virginia Wesleyan brings back most of their better players, and they were really a tough matchup for us last year, so I think they'll be very good. Roanoke, I think, is maybe a team that will be a little bit better because they were fairly young last year. Had two really good freshmen that I liked a lot, and I'm sure once again they'll bring in a couple players as well. But I would assume everybody will be a little bit better. I mean, that's the goal, obviously, for every program, and I respect all the other programs so much that I know they're going to get a little bit better. So we use that to drive us to continue to get better. It doesn't matter how many championships we've won or what our records are. Like, we know that we have to get better from today to tomorrow and from last year to this year in order to give ourselves an opportunity to compete for a championship. Yeah, I think the biggest key to that is the consistency. When I first started in the conference, there were like 2 coaches that had been around for a while, but then all the rest of us were relatively young, and there had been tons of changeover. I mean, for probably the first 6 to 8 years of my time here, it seemed like there were several new coaches every year, but you're not seeing that as much anymore. Obviously, the coaches that you mentioned, they've all been around 10 years or more, or in that range. So that's what it takes to build a program. You can't come in and have a one-hit wonder with a great recruiting class, and you got to build that program from over time. You have to create your culture. You have to adapt as a coach. And I think all those coaches do a great job with that. I also think something that we've talked about as a coaches committee in our conference meetings in the fall every year is making sure that we schedule strong competition outside of the ODAC. And I think teams are really doing a better job with that, especially the middle of the pack and the lower of the pack teams. They're scheduling tougher out of conference competition, and that's A, helping them get better, B, helping all of our strength of schedules when we're looking for postseason resumes, but just making our conference matches that much more competitive because everybody's used to seeing high-level teams, so nobody's surprised when they come to play us because they've already played other really good teams, or nobody's surprised when they play Macon because they've already played other good teams. So I think the consistency piece is the biggest thing, and obviously those coaches are all very good and they do a great job with their programs. So like I said earlier, I respect all the coaches, all the programs. Something we talk about with our players the very first day is no matter who's on the other side of the court, those young women and coaching staffs are giving up their time, their sweat, their effort to try to represent their university the same way that we are doing. So we need to respect them.